Okay, so they were talking about the year 2008, and Brad, we got to ask you, sorry, but let's talk about City of Fredericton not giving 1 cent to the shelter.
Right.
Okay. Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I have an opinion on that, Charles. Council had a lot of discussion and a lot of debate on whether or not to give or to not give money. One of the things that was a part of that discussion was brought to our attention that we have about 31 very good organizations in the city that provide tremendous service to people. The emergency shelter, which I think is the wrong name, by the way. The emergency shelter is one of those 30 and one of those 31s, and the dilemma is this. If we open up the city wallet to provide services in something that we feel, such as social services that we're not mandated to do, how do we say yes to one and how do we say no to another? And how do we make those kinds of decisions? How do we say yes or how do we say no if we start giving money to Transition House, which provides a tremendous service and which is in need like any other organization? How do you say yes or no to the food bank? How do you say yes or no to John Howard Society? There's so many deserving organizations. A lot of these organizations get their money from the community, from the United Way, and the discussions, I was very happy that we had them. We're very aware of the needs in this community. We're very, very reluctant, Charles, to start funding all these different organizations. And we cannot, as an elected government, say yes to one and no to another. And there was the dilemma.
Yeah, but Brad, that place, let's just say that that place never existed. 10 o'clock, these people will be downtown, around.
Well, first of all, let me tell you that the place shouldn't exist.
But it does. It's there.
Well, it does. Let's find out why it's there. Let's figure out why it's there and who it is serving. It is serving people. First of all, there is a need, I think, for an emergency shelter. And for a lot of years, our police station was an emergency shelter. We housed people and protected them from the elements.
Yes.
That was like an emergency shelter. An emergency shelter is a necessary part of the community. What we have here is a long-term care facility. As a result of decisions that were made by a provincial government who put people on the streets out of institutions for people who were mentally incapacitated. That's wrong. That shouldn't happen in Fredericton or any other location. That's number one. Number two, there are other services that should be there to provide for people that need them. And the emergency shelter is one of many. The other thing which I find very interesting when I look at the stats is the number of people and the percentage of people who come into Fredericton from other parts of the province and other parts of the country, which asks or begs the question, are we responsible for our own or are we responsible for everybody? So I think what has to happen, and what I'd like to have happen, is I would like to have this emergency shelter looked at very, very carefully so the community as well as council can understand what it is, who they serve, why they serve, and why we even have a facility like this. And I'd also like to identify those people that can't look after themselves because of medical reasons. There's also drug problems, there's also alcohol problems, there's all kinds of problems, Charles. And I think it's incumbent on us, and what I want to do this year is I want to find out those questions and to be able to deal with it a little bit better. But let me say that we're one of the only cities, if not the only city in the province, that has a full-time staff that we have hired to work with community organizations to try and get closer to them, to try and understand better the root problem rather than just to try and come up with a solution. That's Joanne Thompson. She's doing a wonderful job for us. We're the only city that does that. Let me tell you as well that we provide thousands of bus passes for people that need transportation but don't have the ability to pay. We try and do things of that nature. Now there's a summit coming up here shortly to deal with poverty. The city will be a part of that, and hopefully the provincial government will get some ideas and suggestions out of that. We are involved in support in a big way affordable housing, which it was not.
We'll get to that. Hold on, I got to cut you off.